Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everyone. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. It's great to have you along. Thank you so much. Let's get started. The issue, John Thune has talked to President Trump about the filibuster, and the president has been calling for getting the nuclear option, getting rid of the filibuster, and they just don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it. Thune says there's not enough support from Republicans to invoke the nuclear option. He said the votes aren't there. He was asked, and this makes me laugh, if he had spoken with President Trump about the issue, and he laughed and said, "Oh yeah, yeah, I bet he has." So President Trump has talked to Thune saying the votes are not there to end the filibuster. So the president has said, and we talked about this last week, President urging Senate Republicans to change the rule that requires legislation to receive at least 60 yes votes in order to move forward. You know, I started, Senator John Kennedy has got a book out, and I downloaded it to, I'm a member of Audible. And Senator Kennedy, listening to, forgive me, I forget the name of his book right off the top of my head, but it's Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, and talking about the Senate rules and all of this, and man, what a nightmare! What a nightmare! You get a real appreciation for the quagmire that they're working in out there. But anyway, the filibuster, they don't want to get rid of it. So Thune is saying others are holding on to it. And I shared the comments from President Trump last week. He said it's time for Republicans to play their Trump card and go for what is called the nuclear option. Get rid of the filibuster. Get rid of it now. And he said, I know, he talked about it during the 60 Minutes interview. He said, well, John and a few others, don't want to do this, but you know what? The Republicans have to get tougher. I have believed that for a long time. The Republicans have got to get tougher. I totally agree. And that's as we discussed the issue of the filibuster last week. And then there's this story also at justthenews.com. Mike Johnson is also expressing his support for this Senate filibuster. He said, I understand desperate times call for desperate measures. I understand that traditionally we've seen that as an important safeguard. As much as I have wanted to blow up the filibuster sometimes as a House member, when we were not getting what we wanted done in our agenda, I hear my Senate Republican colleagues, some of the most conservative people in Congress, who say it's an important safeguard. It prevents us, it holds us back from the Democrats' worst impulses. So the Obama got rid of the filibuster when he was president and Democrats were in control. So I'm just not entirely certain how you and I are protected if they refuse to use the nuclear option and move forward on Trump's agenda. I wonder if there's something I'm not seeing, because these are intelligent people. I have a lot of respect for Senator Thune, for House Speaker Mike Johnson. These are folks I have respect for. And they keep telling us, no, we can't do that. It's an important safeguard. What I'm not hearing is anybody articulate why that's the case. I just haven't heard that. And that's what I'm waiting for. I think that's what America is waiting for. Otherwise, do it. And that's where the president's coming from. Let's just get it done. Let's run, let's just run on these things while we can. That's what the Democrats have always done. The Democrats, they're in power, they run. They don't, hold their finger up to see which way the winds are blowing. They just run. They get their agenda done. And I understand why the president's impatient. Also, the shutdown continues. So what are House Democrats and Republicans saying? According to Axios, they're floating a compromise plan to end the shutdown. So let's see what's going on here. Handful of Democrats have openly questioned their party's refusal to budge on the stopgap spending measure, the continuing resolution. Some lawmakers on the Republican side are starting to chafe at the House's prolonged absence. I have a really hard time believing anything that comes from Axios, for one thing, because I think a lot of these stories are loaded trying to achieve an end rather than reporting on events. So, Democrat, who is it who's talking here? What they're saying, lawmakers in a statement, Congress is gridlocked. Too many Americans have lost faith that we can work together. I would agree with that. Here's the truth. Democrats and Republicans can't sit down, listen to one another, find common ground, especially when it comes to lowering healthcare costs. Republicans have been open to this. They've said it repeatedly. Senator Thune said it. We're open if you open up the government. House Speaker Mike Johnson and others in the House of Representatives have said we're open to it if you open up the government. So, lawmakers pitching their proposal. What's the proposal? I don't know what the actual proposal is. It's typical reporting from Axios. This, I am just I'm just not impressed with the work they do at Axios. I think, again, it's meant to drive an agenda, not meant to report what's actually happening. Let's go to Fox News, because Charlemagne the God is telling Democrats, give up and end the fight, damn the government shutdown. You lost the fight. He said.
It was a news tornado.
So let's see what he's saying.
This exchange on ice.
This was yesterday. He said the health care is going to go up anyway because of the big, beautiful bill, because that didn't include the extension of the tax credits to keep the cost down. So if it's going up anyway, what's the point of Democrats taking the stand to keep the government still closed? They're showing opposition to Trump. I am absolutely convinced that's all this is about. That's all this is about. Opposition to Trump. That's all this is about. The government shutdown. So Mimi Brown agreed. People have already been getting letters in the mail about changing healthcare premiums. So anyway, he's saying he appealed to Democrats directly. Charlemagne did. End the shutdown. Democrats, you fought. Seems like you lost the fight. At this point, go on and give it up. At least give the people some relief by getting the government back open. See, Charlemagne is under the impression the Democrat Party cares. I mean, he's under the impression that they care about little people. See, I'm harbor no such illusion. Let these people get their SNAP benefits. I'm all in favor of that. I'm all in favor of folks getting their SNAP benefits. And I hate seeing what's happening, but it's all courtesy of the Democrat Party. Also, when it comes to the shutdown, Breitbart got a story about the way Chuck Schumer is handling the Senate. A majority disapprove of the way he's handling his job in Congress. Do you approve or disapprove of the way Chuck Schumer handling his job? Across the board, 52% say they disapprove of the way Schumer is handling it. A majority of Republicans and independents, 64%. So again, now you look at this. Republicans, 64% are Republicans. What? Only 64% are Republicans? I mean, this is how, and I don't know if that is a real indicator of what's happening out there or if the Republican Party is just that lost. If you have people who call themselves Republicans and are just that lost that they don't, it's just incredible. Schumer also fails to see majority of Democrats approving of the job that he's doing. Only 43% of Democrats approve. Among all the congressional leaders, Schumer has the highest disapproval, with a majority disapproving. Well, there's a lot to disapprove of when it comes to Senator Chuck Schumer. So that is a recent poll. I also want to give you a rundown on the president's True Social account, because he's got some things up there that I wanted to share. He's been active on True Social. So about a half hour ago, wow, Joe Scarborough's television ratings are really bad. They have gone, as they say, down the tubes, as has the rest of MSNBC. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Terminate the filibuster, which we were just talking about. And the president trying to appeal to people. Again, it's election day in New York City, in Virginia, and New Jersey today. They're all voting. And the president saying, if affordability is your issue, vote Republican. Energy costs are plummeting, getting close to $2 a gallon gasoline. When energy goes down, everything else follows, and it has. The president still trying to appeal to people not to vote for Zoran Mamdani, and saying any Jewish person that votes for him, a proven and self-professed Jew hater, is a stupid person. Let's take a look at this. The president's talking about the midterm elections here. I want you to be able to see as much of this as. So he's saying the Democrats are far more likely to win the midterms and the next presidential election if we don't do the termination of the filibuster, because it will be impossible for Republicans to get common sense policies done with these crazed Democrat lunatics being able to block everything, withholding their votes. For 3 years, nothing will be passed. Republicans will be blamed. Elections, including the midterms, will be rightfully brutal. If we do terminate the filibuster, we will get everything approved like no Congress in history. We will have fair, free, and safe elections. No men in women's sports or transgender for everybody. Strong borders, major tax and energy cuts. We will secure our Second Amendment, which the Democrats will also terminate immediately. If we don't do it, they are far more likely to do well in the upcoming elections, which would mean a packed Supreme Court, 2 more states, 4 more Democrat senators, 8 more electoral votes. Remember, Republicans, they are going to end the filibuster as soon as they get the chance. We know this because they already tried. The only 2 people who didn't go along, Kristen Sinema and Senator Joe Manchin, are now out of office, but they have much less chance of winning if we have great policy wins after wins after wins. In fact, they will lose big and for a very long time. Terminate the filibuster now, end the ridiculous shutdown immediately, and then, most importantly, pass every wonderful Republican policy that we have dreamt of for years but never gotten. We will be the party that cannot be beaten, the smart party. Now, there's a thought process that, I understand what the president is saying here. And I find that, really appealing to me, that it makes a good amount of sense, rather than, being, right now it sounds like got Republicans in Congress, especially in the Senate, who are concerned about what might happen. And what the president is saying is, let's quit worrying and let's just do it. Let's move forward. I think there are a lot of Republicans who have been dying to see Republicans who take that kind of action, who take decisive, bold action instead of that, kind of, it's frustrating. I find it incredibly frustrating. Clearly the president does too, which is why he's saying that. But I know a number of people are opposed to the filibuster, but again, the Democrats do get power. And I think one of the questions I'm asking myself, okay, if the Republicans don't get rid of the filibuster, if the filibuster remains and it plays out as the president is saying, that what reason are people going to have to continue to vote Republican, and what improvements are going to be seen, as long as Democrats continue to stand in the way? They talk about progress. They don't want progress for the American people. They're not, they're not clearing the way and trying to move forward. It's the same old thing from the Democrat Party, time and time and time and time again. We hear the same old thing, and it'll continue to be that way. I'm look at the Democratic Party today. You think there are any chances of them changing their tune? I just don't see that happening, given the amount of just off the wall craziness that's out there already. So I know some of you are in favor of the filibuster, would like to hold on to the filibuster. We talked about it last week on the show, and there were a lot of great responses, whether we agree or disagree. I appreciate that folks are giving it thought. The president clearly has been, and from my point of view, I think he's making a pretty compelling argument. All right, my friend, you have made it to the end of the video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks that are here each and every day and commenting. And I love your comments. I go through and take a look at the comments. Some days I display them, depending on the day. I was more focused on my own thoughts this morning. But I'll go back, take a look, see what's on your minds. You can always drop me an email anytime. I love hearing from you, and hope to see you again tomorrow. So until then, my friend, I'm underground and gone.